Yeah, it's really exciting. Really, all the rookies in general came into from the get-go with a mindset of they were going to attack this thing. And they've all really came in and attacked it as a group, which is probably one of the coolest things to see with CJ is it's not just him alone. He's been awesome. He's been putting the work in. They've all been coming in for some extra work. He wants to have command of what's going on, as anyone who's in that position should.
His deliberateness and intent to try to get better, and he's literally grabbing everybody he can on the field. So he's been very sort of intentful of intentional of learning and just learning defense too. Hey, what'd you call there? What was that coverage? Or what'd you do here? So I respect that from him.
Some praise for C.J. Stroud, the second overall pick in the draft and the presumed Week 1 starter of the Houston Texans. Before we go any farther, this is one of the functions of getting older. As you are getting older, you realize how younger people look. I would swear that Bobby Slowik is the kid who delivers my newspaper. I would swear to it. If there was a lineup of who delivers your newspaper, it's him. He did it, officer. He threw my newspaper into the bush.
I still do that? You get somebody that'll come up that hill and throw your newspaper to you?
Yeah. It's in a car and they just throw it at the door. You know, where you come up and turn around? Yeah. Yes. They drive up.
Oh, there you go.
It's not like the old days when I would have had to take a bike up that hill. My Schwinn, ride it up that hill and throw it in that shrub. All right. So, this is best shape of your life season, and it's heap unnecessary and excessive praise on your rookie quarterback season. There's never been a doubt to me. I think Davis Mills is the only human on the planet that has any real hope that C.J. Stroud won't be the Week 1 starter for the Texans. They're getting him ready, just like the Panthers are getting Bryce Young ready. I think the Texans are even doing less to try to conceal it. Stroud is the guy for the Houston Texans. He'll be the guy Week 1. I'd be stunned if he isn't.
Oh, me too. And look, I mean, I think it'd be Case Keenum before it would be Davis Mills out there. I mean, at least that's what I would rather see if I'm D'Amico Ryans and I'm a veteran head coach. We already know what Davis Mills is/is not capable of. We know what Case Keenum is too. And I think Case Keenum is probably a better placeholder if you need it for a CJ Stroud than a Davis Mills would be. But I got to say, Mike, I mean, I don't know if this is unnecessary stuff, especially when it comes to a CJ Stroud because of all the BS that was said about him in the pre-draft process, right? So it's not like, it was just all praise all the time for CJ Stroud. There's some stuff that was said about him, and I don't know if the Texans really need to combat that, but I like that they kind of are combating it, right? With the things that they're saying and just how prepared CJ Stroud has been, how curious he's been about the different defenses and the different coverages and trying to maximize everything he can from the offseason program. So it's not a nothing burger to me that this is some of the stuff that's coming out of Houston because of all the stuff that was said about CJ Stroud in the pre-draft process.
That's a fair point. In my mind, I washed all of that crap out after the draft because I took it for what it was, an effort to get the Texans to get a little wobbly and to not take him so he would start sliding and someone else could get him. That's what I believe all that talk was. It was about sparking a slide because there was someone that wanted CJ Stroud, and they wanted to get the Texans not to take CJ Stroud. And one of the knocks on Stroud was that he asks too many questions. Do you remember that one? He asks too many questions. What the hell are you talking about? Don't you want natural curiosity? And I saw James Palmer of NFL Network post this quote from Matt Burke. We saw Burke in his beard earlier talking about how, as the defensive coordinator, used a coverage that Stroud was intrigued by. First thing he did when I was walking off the field was he grabbed me and he said, Coach Burke, he spent 10 minutes walking off the field asking me about the coverage and just sort of what he saw, how he set it up, talking through that, his deliberateness, his intent, trying to get better. He's literally grabbing everyone he can on the field. He's been very sort of intentional about learning. We heard that part of the clip. But he's asking questions of the defensive coordinator about the coverages he's using. You want a guy who asks questions. You want a guy who has a thirst for knowledge about football, who wants to understand why you're doing what you're doing so he can get better. He's not doing it to be a pain in your ass or to be an infringement on your ability to run back to your office and put a pinch of skull in your cheek and spit into a cup for a half hour. He's trying to get better.
Yes, exactly. And don't you want your franchise quarterback to do that? Right? You want your franchise quarterback to understand the whys of coverage, because if he understands it from that defensive perspective, that can only help him from an offensive perspective. I mean, if you talk to, offensive coaches, certain head coaches, and I've talked to Sean McVay about this because I covered him for years. He always talked about seeing the game from a 22-man perspective. Right. So I think when you can do that as a quarterback, it's only going to make you better. And those questions that you're asking of a defensive coordinator can only make you better, especially as a rookie quarterback who has not seen all the things that they're going to throw at you once you get to the NFL level.
Here's the real question, though. When talking to Sean McVay, how many times did he say your name in 30 seconds? What?
I knew, as soon as you made that little face, once I said Sean McVay, I knew you were going to do something like this. It's just
Sorry,
like
Myles.
it's like I pulled the string on your,
Myles,
on your back. There's a snake in my boot. How many times did Sean McVay say your name in 30 seconds?
Hey, Myles. There's a snake, Myles. It's in my boot, Myles.
Okay.
I don't know what to do about it, Myles. All right, let's take a break. That's a good point to end this discussion. But yeah, I think CJ Stroud is going to start week 1, and we're going to forget about all the crap pre-draft, and we'll find out what kind of a player he is, just like we do with every quarterback who enters the NFL. There's a ceiling out there somewhere between the Hall of Fame and what you did in college, and we'll find out where his ceiling is. We're going to have a draft on this Friday edition of PFT Live, focusing on the best second banana wide receivers among the various NFL teams. And there are a lot of great number 2s out there. We'll do that when PFT Live continues right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.